I was really surprised to find out that only 5% of AI projects ever make it to production. This includes generative AI projects as well as agentic AI projects. The failure rate is really high. Now, what keeps companies going and motivated is the fact that these projects are really saving companies a lot of money. In fact, the projects that did make it to production, there was 171% return on investment because it just offloaded so much labor out of the process. That's why agentic AI is so important to every business. This type of competitive advantage cannot be ignored. The revolution for AI has started, and we've moved past just having a chatbot that gives us answers to questions. We really want agentic AI to come into our businesses and start reducing the cost of doing business. In this video, I'm going to talk about JD Edwards and talk about how agentic AI could be used within JD Edwards to improve the enterprise. I'm going to define what an AI agent looks like, what it should work as. I'm going to talk about your choices as a JD Edwards customer, either to look at vertical platforms that provide ready-made agents, or maybe agents that are ready-made from Oracle, or look at more open platforms like Gemini that provide a platform that you can develop on. For many years, we've had workflow, and more recently, we got RPA. So, what's the big difference between that and agentic AI? Well, RPA and workflow is hard coded. If an input goes through and it doesn't exactly match the criteria that the system's looking for, it'll be an exception. It'll kick it out of the process, which could be suboptimal. Agentic AI, on the other hand, is a brain behind the operation, and it can think on its feet and work towards an outcome, a goal that it's looking to achieve. It'll go across different paths to get to that goal, and it'll continue to learn and evolve so that it improves the process and becomes better over time. So that's a big difference between what we had before and what we have available now. Agentic AI creates tremendous value and it's receiving a lot of attention. In 2025, the amount of activity around agentic AI was about $4.6 billion. That's going to grow to over $48 billion of agentic AI activity occurring in 2030. That is a staggering growth rate. Why are companies using it so much? Because those companies that use it see a reduction of 86% of the human labor to do those particular tasks. When you have a reduction of that much friction in a process, it's worth a lot of money, a lot of efficiency, and it gives those companies competitive advantage, which is why this is the hottest area in technology at this time. JD Edwards doesn't have ready-made AI agents. It has tool sets available from Oracle. It also has available vertical platforms like Lume that bring ready-made AI agents to consider. The Lume platform provides an agentic AI factory for companies that run, for example, JD Edwards. And they have ready-made agents that you can deploy quickly in 2 to 4 weeks. And these enable you to roll out pieces of functionality that basically are close to ready to go. You would connect them to your data and then deploy them. And these are great ideas, especially around contract review, quality management. They have some nice ready-made AI agents that you can consider using. Now, Oracle has created a lot of ready-made AI agents, but they're really focused on their Fusion ERP platform. So it kind of leaves JD Edwards on the outside looking in when it comes to these AI agents. The advantage of these agents is that you can activate them, modify them, and then deploy them. So it's very quickly to use these AI agents. Now, a lot of JD Edwards customers, they might be using the HCM from Oracle in the SaaS solution that they offer, or they might be using additional things like the Hyperion version of that solution in the SaaS version. So for those pieces, you can deploy the ready-made AI agents should you be a JD Edwards customer that's using some of the Oracle SaaS platform. An AI platform that's going to work anywhere you need it is going to be Google's Agent Studio. This is where you can create agents that can work inside of JD Edwards. They can work in the Fusion SaaS applications. They can work on individual databases, anywhere you can deploy these agents. So this is more of a universal solution that would be created on one of the leading platforms with one of the leading frontier models. Something that's really neat about Google's offering is that they're creating a marketplace where developers are creating agents that you could use and license from them. They'd come at an additional fee in most cases, but you can bring in agents that are ready made for different business processes. I think this is going to continue to get better and better. So with Google, you have the extensibility. You can create your own. You can create very detailed agents that are very complex. They could touch multiple systems. Let's say you have JD Edwards, you have Salesforce, and you have Workday HCM. Google can work in all those systems. It's not going to be prevented from working in those systems so long as you have the APIs set up and you have the right access given to these agents. So the Google solution is quite universal and very powerful. Google's solution is going to be a great path forward because it's going to be one of the leaders in AI. And you can put your agents in the center of all the things they're doing today and the things they're going to be doing tomorrow. Today, you run JD Edwards, you might be running a project management system. You may have Slack, you have an HCM system, and you have Salesforce or ServiceNow. Well, as you change those systems in the future, this solution is going to be future proof. You'll be able to have an agentic solution that is going to be around for a long time. It may take more effort, more learning to implement the Google solution, but I think it's going to have the best longevity. Some companies are going to need to go across multiple systems, and that's going to be a necessity. And you're going to have agents working with one another as well. These agents are going to resemble employees, and employees are going to collaborate. They're going to work together to get the job done. Well, agents are going to resemble that. Multiple agents are going to have to work together to get a particular complex process done. So the cost of waiting too long is immense. You have agents that are really reducing the cost of doing business. And what you would hate to be is in a position where your competition's gotten ahead of you in this area and is outperforming your company. Nobody wants that. We're seeing a massive shift into AI agents because they're just so darn useful and they're reducing the cost of doing business so much. They're making businesses that much quicker and able to compete in the marketplace. So that's why this is an area that as an individual, you can make yourself so valuable by being a leader in learning agentic AI and being one of the key stakeholders within your enterprise, your company. You're one that uses AI agents to better your business. You become very well versed in managing these AI agents and really reimagining your business on AI. For businesses, you see the big payoff. And we're now seeing a big increase in activity as businesses reimagine their operations and really build them with digital employees integrated into the business and working alongside people to really operate the business at the optimal level. So let's go further into how JD Edwards customers can use agentic AI and really flourish over the next few years. The first time I used JD Edwards was in 1994. I was a staff accountant and I began to use what was the release during that era. It was a system that everybody liked compared to the previous system that we had, which was a mainframe system. And ever since then, I recognized that JD Edwards had the best customer satisfaction because users really liked how clear, simple, easy it was to use. And it remains one of the best applications out there for ERP to handle financials, supply chain, project-based work. And the agentic era isn't going to take anything away from JD Edwards. It's just going to make it better. And just to recap, the reason why businesses are really invested in agentic AI is because it's just a big payoff. If you look at the failure rate to this point has really been because we've gone through a couple of years of curiosity. Businesses have been willing to kind of kick tires and do some pilots, but not really go all the way. The companies that did go all the way, they're receiving tremendous payback. And the secret's out. Businesses want to deploy agentic AI, and JD Edwards customers are not going to be left behind. They can participate in this revolution and really get the savings and the benefits from agentic AI. Deploying an AI strategy is going to be different than previous system implementations where you bought a general piece of software and then deployed it. It's it's going to be very custom. It's going to be created to your requirements so that it could fit your business quite well. It comes with four primary areas that you need to focus on. You're going to build it, you're going to scale, govern, and then optimize. You're going to build based on your requirements. You may use one of the more advanced frontier models or large language models from Gemini or OpenAI, or you may be able to use an open source large language model from Llama, which is pretty much free to use if it can solve the needs that you have. You're going to build your AI agents in your studio. You're going to deploy them and then scale those AI agents. You're going to assess their runtime, make sure that they're running effectively, and you're going to see that they actually are completing the tasks that you need them to complete. What's very important is that you govern these agents. You identify each agent and you can basically track it, pretty much like you track people. People have their login and you can tell who performed a particular transaction. The same thing applies for an AI agent. It's pretty much a digital employee that's completing a task. So we can determine if a task is in question, which agent performed that task. You want to continue a feedback loop and continue to improve your agents. And especially the first phases of a project, you're going to get things set up to work, but over time, you're going to optimize and make them work really well. Seeing how agents perform tasks and seeing where you can improve is going to be a key feedback loop in your project. So, how do we get these AI agents produced and into service? There's different ways you can go about it, and there's a different level of effort, and there's a different outcome depending on which path you take. There's an out of the box path, there's a low code path, and there's a highly customized code first path. The simplest and easiest path is the out of the box path where you license some ready made task modules that you can put into your work stream. These are agents that were made for various areas of accounting, service, maybe contracts, and so forth. These are provided from companies like Lume, or Oracle provides it for its Fusion ERP customers. The low code option is a happy medium. You get to customize these AI agents in the Google Gemini Agent Studio or Microsoft's Copilot Studio. This is a happy medium because with the Google Gemini Agent Studio or Microsoft Copilot, you can develop these agents so that they can work across many different applications. It could work across JDE Edwards, it could work in Salesforce, it could work in ServiceNow or even Workday HCM. So you can go across all the different systems with the low code builder. And then there's the most advanced. And this would come into play for companies that really want these agents to do very complex tasks that go across different systems. And these complex tasks, they require that you use a more advanced platform like LangChain or Google's ADK platform. And these are made for the really complex workflows. So depending on what you'd like to accomplish over the coming years is going to dictate which path you'd like to take, the level of investment you want to make, and what kind of system and what kind of work environment you're going to want to have going forward. If you go with platforms like the Lume platform, it's going to be weeks to go live because you're buying a ready-made AI agent. When you go into the Gemini Enterprise or Copilot Studio from Microsoft, it's going to vary. You can definitely get a project done in 4 weeks, but it could also be longer because you're really tailoring that AI agent around requirements that you want to have. As you get into more complex uh, AI agent streams, it may be months, maybe even a year to deploy it the way you want. And that's because your level of requirements have gotten really complex, and the value of these particular AI agents is going to be very high. So you pick which path is appropriate for you. I would encourage you to work with a consulting team that really knows the different options, studies your requirements, and puts you in the right path for success. Now, the different SaaS platforms have ready-made AI agents in them: SAP, Oracle, Salesforce, and Microsoft. And I think these platforms are doing a big service to their customers by doing that. Oracle especially has really invested a lot, and Salesforce has certainly done so. But what if you run multiple platforms and you run Salesforce, you run JD Edwards, you run some Microsoft CRM, and you run Oracle HCM Cloud? Those are four different systems. Which one do you use? One of the shortcomings of this particular strategy is that you're going to use a proprietary AI agent platform that's only going to work within that SaaS solution quite well. And if you try to make it work outside of that SaaS solution, it's not going to work very well at all. So that's one thing to think about is if you have agents that are going to work across different applications, let's pick the right platform that is going to serve your needs going forward. AI agents are digital employees, and we need to identify them, we need to track them, we need to provide them the right security, and really have very good framework around security. We don't want rogue automation that's going to end up creating a lot of problems, security issues, and bad data. So having secure data access and having a good framework around security is a must. One of the big advantages of JD Edwards is that JD Edwards has an orchestrator that was originally designed for integrations. And this orchestrator can work really well with Agentic AI. Here's an example of how we can connect the JD Edwards orchestrator to the Gemini AI platform and have that platform create agents that are going to use the orchestrator, the APIs, to actually complete tasks within JD Edwards. The agentic AI era is so exciting and it's going to provide so much value to businesses. It really is bringing a new level of ability that we've never seen before. Businesses are going to be able to run faster, less expensively, more competitively. The reasons for it is that we're able to connect to these really capable frontier models, these large language models from Google Gemini, OpenAI, Anthropic. And these frontier models bring a level of knowledge and ability that can really change your business, can really advance the way that you do, that you complete processes, transactions, the way you service your customer, the way you operate. These systems are able to be, in essence, the hands that complete the task within your enterprise. And these AI agents work 24/7. They never take a day off. They just need electricity and very good instructions. It's an ideal time for JD Edwards customers to look at agentic AI and begin to innovate, reimagine your company using this phenomenal technology, this very powerful technology. And I know it's a lot to take in. A lot of people are apprehensive, concerned, fearful of AI. I can understand how those feelings are real. But it's not the first time we've had a technology come in that really created a lot of benefit, a lot of efficiency. And what's great is that this particular technology is very affordable. It's very easy to deploy, but really should be done right. It's also great that JD Edwards is a platform that's ready for agentic AI. It's ready for some tailoring that would bring in this very state of the art technology to improve the operations within JD Edwards. So I encourage you to get started. The sooner the better. Look for a qualified consulting team that could help you. I'd love to help you. If you'd like to give me your phone number, put it in the comments, or look up my email and email me. I'd be glad to help you and provide you either my direct services or refer you to somebody that can help you. That's it for my video. Thanks so much for watching and learning more about Agentic AI and how JD Edwards could take advantage of this world-class technology.